we have a border war for a national championship. It really can't get much better than this. We have North Dakota State, who has won 9 of the last 11 FCS National Championships, a dynasty not just at the FCS level, but in all of college football, taking on South Dakota State, who has arguably been the best team in the country at the FCS level this season, but has never won a national title. The closest they came, falling short to Sam Houston State in that spring season back in 2020. The 12-win Bison, the 13-win Jackrabbits. We're going to have a thriller on our hands on Sunday, and we are here to break down everything you need to know for this game and, of course, share our official prediction on who will be crowned FCS National Champion. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We are so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have our spread pick for the national championship game over on our website. We're going to have the spread pick for every NFL playoff game over there. We have exclusive content down in the description, as well as on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We want you to go check it out. We want you to become a part of our team so you can get nonstop college football content year-round, because that's what we're producing here. We are producing nonstop college football content year-round right here at the Gridiron Expert, and we want you to become a part of our GE Nation. So let's take a look at this game, guys. I personally love FCS football. I know we don't talk about it nearly as much as we probably should here on the channel, but this is a very high-level football. This is very quality football that kind of gets overshadowed by the events that happen at the FBS. That's why I really enjoyed the spring season. COVID was not fun, but getting to shed more light on the FCS level was phenomenal. And we have two of the biggest powerhouses over these last few years playing for a national title, and it's just fitting that they're two of the biggest rivals at this level in North Dakota State and South Dakota State. South Dakota State did win the initial meeting this season. They did play in the regular season. South Dakota State won 23-21 back on October 15th. They trailed 21-7 at halftime, battled all the way back, scored 16 unanswered points in the second half. The Jackrabbits' lone loss this season came in their season opener against Iowa. Game they only lost 7-3. I think we all remember, or maybe don't remember, that game. North Dakota State, their only losses are to South Dakota State in October and a 3-point loss on the road against Arizona. Shows you how good both these teams have been all year long. You take a look at the offenses, guys, and we'll start with the Bison here. 34.6 points per game. That's what they're averaging, and this is a team that wants to run the football. They are not a pass-heavy team, and it kind of depends on the personnel. We've seen some great quarterbacks come out of North Dakota State. We've seen guys like Carson Wentz and Trey Lance and Easton Stick. But they are a run-first team now. 49, listen to this, 49 rushing touchdowns for the Bison this year compared to just 11 passing touchdowns. That's it. Kobe Johnson leads the way at running back, 902 yards, 8 touchdowns on the year for Johnson. You've got Tamarick Williams right behind him, 679 yards, 8 touchdowns. Hunter Luepke, 619 yards, 9 touchdowns. He hasn't played since late November, but still, it just shows the type of talent that North Dakota State has in their backfield. Your leading rusher has over 900. The guy right behind him almost has 700. The guy behind him hasn't played since November, and he has over 600. So you've got guys that are just racking up the rushing yards. And then in addition to that, you've got a rushing quarterback. Cam Miller at quarterback for North Dakota State has over 1,700 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, takes good care of the football, 497 rushing yards, and 15 rushing touchdowns. He leads all rushers when it comes to the touchdown category with 15. So your quarterback is not a guy that wants to throw the ball that often, but he can definitely beat you with your legs, and that's a very tall task for the South Dakota State defense. I will say this, though. In that first meeting, North Dakota State was held to 127 rushing yards against the Jackrabbits. They did not put up the amount of yards that they normally do against inferior opponents. They're going to need to put up some big-time yards if they want to beat the Jackrabbits in Frisco. They're going to have to put up big-time yards to win this game. You look at South Dakota State, their offense is a little bit more balanced, 32.9 points per game. Mark Gronowski kind of busted onto the scene back in 2020 during that spring season. At quarterback, he's been phenomenal. Over 2,700 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Has quickly made a name for himself, not just within the Jackrabbits program, but as one of the best quarterbacks in the entire FCS. He also has over 350 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns. So he's not as elusive maybe as Cam Miller, but he can run. He's a threat. Escaping the pocket. You cannot just overlook it. But you look at South Dakota State the rest of the way. They have running back Isaiah Davis, over 1,300 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns on the year. They have Amar Johnson right behind him, 618 yards and 6 touchdowns. This is a team for South Dakota State that, to me, owns the passing edge. At the quarterback advantage, it goes to Mark Gronowski. It goes to South Dakota State. But they're a team that you have to respect the run. They might be able to air it out a little bit more. 2,700 yards for Gronowski, only about 1,700 for Cam Miller. The run game cannot be ignored. It is very, very good. And in their first game against North Dakota State, they won 23-21. They were held to 152 passing yards, but had 207 rushing yards. Shows that balance, and it shows that you can win. As if you're South Dakota State, you can win either way. You can win through the air, you can win on the ground. It simply doesn't matter. Defensively, that makes things difficult for the Bison, right? A defense that's typically very, very strong, especially up front. And that really hasn't been, a false statement this year. Bison have only given up 24 points or more in 4 games this year. They're 3-1 in those games. So even if they give up a little bit more points than they're used to, or maybe that they want, the offense is there to counteract that and to still win, even if it becomes a shootout, kind of like their semifinal matchup against Incarnate Word. They have 39 sacks on the year. They have 25 forced turnovers, led by Spencer Wade with 11 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. 11 sacks in 1 season. Very impressive year for Spencer Wade. The key, though, for North Dakota State is, again, stopping the run. That's something they haven't done extremely well this year as compared to recent years. Got to stop the run. They allowed 257 rushing yards in their 3-point victory over Incarnate Word, a game that looked like the Bison were definitely going to lose. They allowed 257 rushing yards in that one. They allowed 163 rushing yards to Montana in the second round of the playoffs. They allowed 207 rushing yards to South Dakota State in that first meeting back in October, like we mentioned. They have to slow it down. If you allow South Dakota State to bully you up front, if you allow them to establish the run, it's going to be game over. You, in a way, have to make the Jackrabbits one-dimensional. You cannot allow them to maintain that balance that they have in that first meeting. You cannot allow other teams to maintain that balance that they had with Incarnate Word, that they had with Montana, even though the Bison did win both of those games. South Dakota State, their defense has certainly proven to be strong, too. They've allowed 24 points or more just twice this year, one in a 49-35 win over North Dakota, the other 31-28 victory over Northern Iowa. And what was the common factor in those 2 games? Well, it was the passing defense that was shaky. They gave up 291 passing yards to North Dakota. They gave up 270 passing yards to Northern Iowa. They've allowed over 100 rushing yards twice. That's it. 127 to North Dakota State, 261 rushing yards to Holy Cross, in a 42-21 victory in the FCS quarterfinals. So talk about a stingy front seven. Talk about a stingy run defense. 2 teams have rushed for over 100 yards on South Dakota State. That's it. They've played 14 games. Only twice have they allowed over 100 rushing yards. One was only 127 to North Dakota State, so not by much. They still won. One was a lot to Holy Cross, and they still won the game by 21 points. What's that tell you about the offense? What's that tell you about the rest of their defense? And so if you're South Dakota State, you know North Dakota State's a run-first team. Cam Miller can't win this game solely through the air. If we force him to throw the ball more than he wants, more than the Bison want, we've got this national championship in the bag. Yes, they allowed 227 passing yards and 2 touchdowns to Miller in that first meeting, but if it becomes an all-out aerial attack for North Dakota State, I don't have faith in Miller to win the game. I don't think Miller can win it all by himself. The Bison need that balance. They need to establish the run, and they didn't really get to do that in that first meeting. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think they're going to do it this time. I don't think they are. This is a very, very tough game to pick. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, even if you are dead set on who you're picking, even if you don't care about the FCS, just the fact this is a big-time rivalry game deciding a national championship, that is plenty of reason to watch this game on Sunday. But ultimately, guys, I'm going with South Dakota State here, and I typically don't pick against the Bison. They're like the Alabama of the FCS level, but this is not the same Bison team we've seen in years past. Yes, they're the dynasty. But South Dakota State, again, has arguably been the best team at the FCS level all year long. They own the quarterback edge with Mark Gronowski over Cam Miller. They own the defensive edge right now. And that rushing defense is absolutely insane. If they hold the Bison to under 140 rushing yards, held them to 127 in the first meeting, if they hold them to under 140 rushing yards, they are good. And I think they're going to do just that. They're going to stifle that Bison run game. They're going to force Cam Miller to win the game through the air, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So in Frisco on Sunday, give me the South Dakota State Jackrabbits to win their first ever national championship, and it's going to be in thrilling fashion over their biggest rival in Frisco. No better way to end the year. Congratulations to South Dakota State. We're going to pick you to win the Natty. Let's see if you prove us right on Sunday afternoon. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We got exclusive offers there, exclusive content there for college football content that we're going to provide for you 24/7, 365. The season may be nearing an end, but the content here does not stop. Do not go anywhere, guys. Become a part of our GE Nation. Subscribe to us, follow us, check it all out. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.